Hi, thank you for joining me today. As promised, I said I'd show you the setup I have for recording Zoom calls for interviews, podcast, any audio creative output that might involve a voice. So if you're doing voiceovers, or just wanting like general sound compositions, music compositions, that sort of thing. And the software that I'm using today are Reaper, Zoom, and their device called Black Hole. If you're a regular Mac user, you will have known about possibly Soundflower that was produced in 2004. So this would allow your desktop audio, your computer audio, so say from YouTube or from your DVDs, that kind of thing. So you'd be able to capture the audio directly from that without having to download the video or rip from it as you would on Windows, I believe. So unfortunately though, Soundflower didn't really get updated, and now with the newer OS releases there are quite a few problems. But recently a developer released a similar one called Black Hole, and it runs smoothly. It is a little complicated to set up in terms of checking everything working between, but once you have the setup done, well, I'll show you now. So thank you CDM for posting this article, as it was really informative in terms of what's available, and there's a link as well straight to the Black Hole GitHub download. So it was very easy to install. Once you get to GitHub, you need to scroll down to the download installer. If you're a developer, feel free to explore the files above, and there is some support here as well if you like to support the developer. So as you can see, it works on current macOS and Catalina, which is great. And this is what we'll be looking at in a second. So from there, what you have to do is enter your email address, your name and surname, and subscribe for a free Mac download, which will then take you to check your mail, and then you'll get a unique link which will enable you to download. Very simple setup. It'll take you all through, and then we go to the fun part. So in your audio devices, if you don't know where that is, you can do Command Spacebar for the quick search and type in audio MIDI setup. This is the icon you're looking for. I like to keep mine docked below for quick access. So once that's open, you can see we've got it set up just here. You have 16 ins and 16 outs. The Soundflower is still there. I need to take that off. And then my H5, which is where my external mic is plugged in. So in order to record the audio from my external mic, so not my built-in microphone within the MacBook, and the audio desktop, I needed to create an aggregate device. So this sends both audios into one workstation, and it means on different apps I can say send the output audio to Black Hole, and then Reaper receives the Black Hole audio as well as the H5. So once that's set up, that's very simple to do. You just go plus create aggregate device, and then Black Hole, whatever your external mic is. I make my clock source the H5, There are reasons behind that, but I can't remember. And I also make sure to rename it as well, because when you're going into your preferences within your chosen DAW, it can be confusing if you've got aggregate device 1, 2, 3. So if you know exactly which is which, that will help you in the long run. So I'll get rid of that. You can also set this to use this device for sound output. So what that will do is, if you see in the top right hand corner here where my audio is, I can then select which audio device I want to use across the board. So sometimes I have to do this manually. Other times it will just automatically set up. And so into Zoom. Once you've downloaded Zoom and made an account, I'm not going through that this time, there's plenty of videos on that. You'll need to head to your settings. And under here you'll see general video audio. Head to the audio, and this is when you can select your speaker or audio output. So black hole 6 channel. So this is for the person that's on the other side of your call. And then your microphone here, you can see it's working. And then also in recording, so I always do a backup as well through Zoom. This is so that if anything goes wrong in Reaper, I have a second recording. The quality's not as great, but it's always good to have a backup. So you can select record a separate audio file for each participant. So that's really useful in terms of having 2 separate audio tracks rather than one merged. It depends on how much editing you want to do and what your podcast is for. So for me, because I'm using the interviews they're going to be heavily edited, it's better to have separate tracks. It also means if there's any noise that accidentally happens on my end, it's easy to get rid of. Whereas if it was merged, it'd be a lot harder to edit out. So once that's done, we don't need to do anything else, and then we head over to Reaper. If you head up to the top left hand corner and down to preferences, bear with me, I need to drag the preferences over to my other screen. There we are. So it's currently recording me, so I'll just beautiful. So as you go into your preferences, you'll see general, project and audio. We need audio device. Now what you want to select is your aggregate device that you set up, which collects together your desktop audio, so the audio you're receiving, and your external mic. And so for me, I've titled that as Zoom call. Then in order to hear what's going on, for some reason, I know it said to create an aggregate device, but I was having some issues. I've not had any problems, but I have had to send these two to the H5. And then what I do is I then pull down the volume on my mic track in Reaper. Some other audio people might be like, probably not a good idea. And I welcome suggestions and recommendations as to how, but so far I've not had any of the problems. And then I'm listening to the audio out through my H5. So once that's set up, click OK, and then this is where I'm storing my interviews. So I go new track, and the first one is always the interviewee's mic, because it just makes it easier to see it. And then here we go, we have the H5s and the black hole. So for it goes in chronological order. So it's input 1 for your Zoom audio. You can even relabel them within the audio MIDI, which is something else you could do. The way we test this then, so arm the recordings. Woo. There we go. And then if you pop back to your audio settings in Zoom, and so this is the interviewee mic, so this is the audio coming out of Zoom, and this is my mic here. So we do test speaker. You can see the waveform is working in both. And then we can also control how loud the other person is. Say if they're very close to their microphone, we can control the input of their audio through Zoom. And then you can also test your mic, but if you can hear yourself, it usually means that it's working. So test mic for Zoom H5. Test mic for Zoom H5. And there we go. So, and then you're all set up and ready to go. Simple as that. Do let me know if you have any suggestions, what you thought of this video. And do subscribe to my channel. Also, I can be found on Twitter and Instagram at _Holly Early, all lowercase. Thanks for watching and see you soon.